This video here is going to cover rubrics on the Google Classroom. Something that should make your life easier is something you can reuse across multiple classes and just make marking the press of a button. First of all, just create an assignment as you do normally. Add all the details you'd want as you'd normally do with an assignment. This is the first new step now, so you can click the plus rubric button. You'll see three options. For now, we're just going to click the create rubric button. There's a fair few things happening on this screen, so we'll go through each bit in turn. First of all is the criterion title. This is what we are just ranking them on and giving them a score on. Next up is just a little description of what this criterion is about. We've got this points section next. The first points we're going to set is the maximum points we're going to award for this section. So in this case 5. Then I'm going to give a short title of what 5 points actually means. I'm going to press the plus next to add more point sections for the lower points all the way down to 0. I'm going to descend the points by 1 each time, changing the level title each time to a slightly worse one. I'm now adding a description for each point so the students can see what they need to do to get each mark. I have some already prepared, so I'm just pasting them in now. If our criteria are very similar to each other, we're going to use the duplicate criterion option. Very useful because we can just keep everything the same layout as it is in the previous criterion. We can then change the criterion details to be what we'd like them to be for the next criterion. You will then want to add as many criteria as you need. Duplicating the criteria is the quickest way to do so. You could add new ones instead if you'd rather, but duplicating it if they're all in a similar format is the way to go. The score you then see at the end of all this is your rubric scores all added up. So we had 4 sections, they were all out of 5, so we have a total of 20 in this case. If for some reason after doing all this work you want to delete it, click the 3 dots, there's a delete option there. Finally, we click the save button in the top right and we have finished making the rubric. You'll see it back on the assignment with how many criteria you've got and the amount of points it's worth in total. You could then just press the assign button as usual. We're now going to take a look at what the student sees before uploading their assignment. This is the student view here. They can see the rubric, they can expand each section, and then they can also read your description so they can understand what they need to do to achieve each mark. Next we'll look at what you need to do when marking using a rubric. First you need to navigate to the student's work as usual on the assignment. On the right hand side you can see the rubric itself where you've got all the options to select. You also have the option to expand each criterion and then read your description in case you've forgotten what you're actually marking it over. Otherwise you can just select the score you want for each criterion by selecting the box and do that for each criterion. You will then see your total score for the rubric, which will then translate into your overall grade. If your grade was out of a different number, it will try to match your rubric to that number. Otherwise you're ready to return it to the student now. Once it has been returned to the student, if you click on their name on the left in the list there, you can see what the result they got via their rubric. Finally, we're now going to just have a quick look at what the student sees with their return result and the rubric. This is what the student sees. They see the rubric is now filled out with blue marks indicating what they got, which they can expand as before and then read exactly what they did and why they got it. And that is all to do with rubrics. Hopefully this has explained what they are and how you can use them to make your marking more efficient. Thank you for listening.